La 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 la.
The year is 2015. You're scrolling through your YouTube homepage and what's that? Jenna Marbles. Queen, she posted. There's a new PewDiePie funny montage? Say less. Tyler Oakley just came out with another collab. Can't wait to watch that. Wait. What's that? I traded my wife and kids to the cartel for a piece of gum and left them all traumatized, and they're all in the mental hospital. Prank, not clickbait, emotional. Yes. Simpler times. The prime era of YouTube pranks was definitely an interesting one. One day you're watching a girl flash her ass in public, but she's a girl, so it's okay. Right? Not like she's in front of a playground or anything. And then next you're watching a guy pretending to reach for a weapon in a bad area of town, which quite obviously goes wrong. You think people today are out there selling their souls for fame? Try actually putting your life on the line just to get a long enough YouTube video. Granted, most of the dangerous YouTube pranks were set up and, well, fake, but don't worry, we'll get into that later. If you grew up with YouTube, whatever community you were in, you've definitely heard about prank channels and how insane that era of life got. I was really into the British side of YouTube, so you best believe I was all in the know about the whole Sam Pepper drama. All that chaos. Pure example of getting lost in the green. Oh wait, no, not, okay, yeah, cool, thanks. Not green, but orange. Can't forget about Sebastian Balls pressuring his girlfriend to have sex with him, but for a prank. The fact this photo exists really blows my mind. I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself though. It's just really easy to open up the book of YouTuber fuck-ups and read it like it's a goddamn bedtime story. I wasn't really someone who watched a lot of prank channels because usually when I watched those videos I would curl up in a ball because of how cringe they were, and I couldn't find them entertaining. Prank channels still exist today though, and honestly a lot of them still thrive, but it definitely doesn't hit like it used to, and you just don't hear about them as often anymore. And I like the concept of pranking, but people making content will kill a boy's turtle and be like, just a prank, bro. So correction, I like wholesome pranks. Pretending to rob somebody? No. Pretending to be murdered, being dead for someone to find you? No. Take a joke, they say. No. Take a bus to therapy, my guy. He's going for round 2. These edgelords are laughing at pranks basically traumatizing people and then cry and sob when you call them short. Anyways, let's move on. Side note before this intro ends, I want to say this is the last video I am making at this location. I'm moving out of LA for a year. Also, you'll be seeing less animals, unfortunately, because only this guy is mine. So thank you to this desk. Quick little disclaimer, I do kind of jump around a lot in terms of time frames, so if what I discuss isn't exactly in order, I'm aware and I know, but it just doesn't make sense to be talking about a creator and then jump to a different creator and then go back to that creator. So yeah, for ease sake, some things might not be in exact order. Not only that, this video could probably be 5 hours, but I'm just chopping it into like 20. Feel free to add or discuss more in the comments below though. Pranks on YouTube goes all the way back to the beginning, but one of the first prank channels that I personally remember blowing up the most, and that's probably due to my age, was Prank vs. Prank, which started in 2009. There's a handful of creators though who even paved the way for them, such as Mediocre Films, which started in 2006 and is recognized as the first channel to be on YouTube that does pranks, and Ed Basemaster, which is also another creator who was recognized as one of the first prank channels on YouTube. Of course, you have these types of pranks as well, but I'm mainly just going to be talking about the tubers, all right? Back to Prank vs. Prank though, as I feel that they really began to shape pranking into what it became. You can just tell by the vibe of their videos that they're just trying to have fun, and it really wasn't deep. Well, until Jesse pretended to kill their cat. That wasn't cool. Another name that I'm sure many of you are familiar with, who also indulged in prank content, was Roman Atwood. Both his and Prank vs. Pranks were something that these two channels took a lot of pride in because they were real. They were genuine reactions, or so they tell us. Not that other channels that were popular on this time weren't making real content, but once creators started noticing how successful these videos were becoming, it wasn't uncommon to start seeing staged videos. Most channels actually started out with real pranks. The content was still pretty new. There were still so many ideas to explore. The viewers weren't bored yet or even close to bored. And more importantly, creators were not yet becoming competitive because money wasn't involved, or at least it wasn't as involved. I would say around 2012 is when prank content began changing. For the worst, obviously. The pranks began to get a lot more problematic, risky, and invasive. The first prank that I remember being in hot water was Vitality's Miami zombie prank. The video is introduced with a screen saying that he is doing this prank because a week earlier, a man took bath salts in Miami and turned to cannibalism on a passerby, eating his face. So why not take this absolute tragedy of a situation and turn it into a funny little joke? I was about 10 or 11, and even at that age, I was able to recognize this is kind of not okay. And Vitality will eventually become the most problematic prank YouTuber, being arrested more than once and being banned from every single stadium due to streaking several times. One of these arrests being from his Russian hitman prank, where he threatens that he has a bomb to random strangers, which of course leads to panic and the cops are called. Duh. And although Vitality was doing all of this, many actually claim that Roman Atwood was actually the one to start normalizing more risky content for pranksters. His content was always on the brink of provocative and for people of all ages, with him making videos like killing my kid prank, flashing kids prank, blowing girls' clothes off prank. People started to notice that, oh, this guy is really pushing the limit and his views are absolutely insane. We should do the same, but crazier. I think this prank intensity came before Roman Atwood personally, but I can see where people are coming from when they happen to say this. He was becoming so successful and people really wanted to follow that path. Around 2012 is also when pranks based in possible dangerous locations spiked as well. People who live in dangerous locations have learned how to protect themselves when feeling threatened. And you think going to a bad part of town to mess with people for your video is a good idea? Hello, video editing Allie here. As I'm getting footage for this video, something that I have noticed a lot is that pretty much all of the creators making these videos are white. These white creators' entire careers are based off of exploiting people of color. That is a very important part on why I do not approve, and I don't think that these pranks in dangerous areas, they're not even all dangerous areas, they're just areas where people have their heads up because shit can happen, you know? And due to all of the reactions that these people give these creators, it's planned, right? So all of these white people are basically asking for people of color to constantly be beating them up so that their videos look crazier, which is gross, and it can put a certain point of view on impressionable watchers. The two biggest creators to take on this genre of prank content was Joey Salads and Dennis C. Or so they sometimes were referred to as social experiments. Social experiments actually date on YouTube as far as 2006, but in 2012, people really started intertwining the two. FouseyTube was a creator who really ran with this, and I came across this video that really does a great job in explaining FouseyTube and his involvement with all of this.
The use of the phrase social experiment in regards to pranks would become an incredibly contentious issue. Many would come to believe that it was only used to apply cover for content creators to mask the manipulation of dark subject matter for greed behind a good cause.
Also, I really like that this is the top comment on that video. Made me chuckle. So it became really weird because these prank channels were then claiming to do social experiments, but then they also had underlining ties of being pranks, and yeah, it was just very confusing. One of the first moments when it came to this whole social experiment craze was from YouTuber Josh Lynn helping this homeless man named Thomas as a series. They raised over $145,000 on GoFundMe, but then unfortunately he actually passed from alcohol poisoning. Later, after his death, their contract was released, and it stated that Josh actually got to keep $20,000 of the $145,000 that was raised for Thomas, and also that wasn't included in the description of this GoFundMe. So, first red flag, right? Second red flag, it was actually all completely staged, and allegedly Thomas, whose actual name is Kenny, and yes, he did actually unfortunately pass, him and his family never got the money. So, that's a big old boo to that fucker, and all I gotta say to that as well is tomato, 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 tomato. In terms of jokes and pranks, you know, farts weren't really doing it anymore, and creators started becoming more and more comfortable with the idea of being absolutely unhinged, and that's due to the numbers that these videos were reeling in. I'd say it's about 2013, 2014, and pretty much every single prank is fake. Viewers are kind of over the chill shit, and honestly, they want to see these people get hurt. It's really messed up, actually, but none of these creators want to put themselves in danger, so hiring actors is next best. It basically comes down to what can give us the craziest title, what can give us the most insane thumbnail, what will make us go viral. And with that, holy shit. And the launch of Prank Invasion. Prank Invasion was a channel where this guy would basically fool people into thinking that he was getting pretty girls to make out with him. But hey, guess what? They were all actresses. Prank Invasion's content always kind of freaked me out, honestly. The way he would grab the girls' butts while kissing them, and they usually looked very uncomfortable, like they didn't really want their butt grabbed, or they didn't want to be held that way. It just felt so invasive watching it all happen. He always just gave me the vibe that if I was ever at a party with him, I should really make sure to cover the lid of my drink. And around this time, there was a theme of prank channels basically just using women as objects. Women were being constantly sexualized for content, and then it got to, let's just actually harass women. But it's okay because it's a prank, right? Right, God. Actress or not, making content where you are convincing everyone that it is real and assaulting women is not cool, and it normalizes it to your younger audience. And in all reality, fuck Prank Invasion in general, as it was outed that he lied to some of his actresses about what they would be doing and was a crybaby once it was outed. And since we're on the path of scum who harass women, Sam Pepper. In 2014, Sam Pepper releases an ass-pinching prank, which is sexual harassment, and the entire internet pretty much turns on him, rightfully so. This got him banned from VidCon and from the Findbuzz React channel, which he was commonly on. But don't worry, guys, it was just a social experiment. Gosh. And listen, if we're gonna talk about Sam Pepper and we're talking about pranks, I'm sorry. I gotta do it to him. The killing my best friend prank with Sam and Colby. I actually really like Sam and Colby. I think they're good guys, and they were really young, and I think they got wrapped up. I think they got wrapped up in this life, and Sam Pepper probably noticed that, oh, these two young boys will probably do anything, and ran with it and made this video. I'm pretty sure they're 18 here, but those look like 12-year-olds. Shortly after all the backlash, this prank was claimed to be fake, but a lot of people don't believe that, and that is due to how fantastic, I don't know if that would be the word, Sam's acting was. Like, Sam, that was a show. I've watched this video recently, and even knowing it was fake, I was tearing up because your acting was insane. But yeah, no, real talk, this prank was really far, and I'm sure they know that now, especially as it was posted just 2 weeks after the Paris terrorist attacks. And honestly, not even debatably, when people think of this era of YouTube and, you know, the prank genre, most people's minds immediately go to this exact prank. But the show must go on, and pranking still continued. And the craziness also still continued. But the competition factor for these channels just just slightly adjusted. And that was because people were slowly starting to not be interested in pranks anymore. So it soon became who can make the craziest prank, so some commentary YouTuber wants to review it. Specifically H3H3, who was a huge reviewer for this prank content. To the point where these prank content creators were just begging him to see it, as once H3 talked about it, usually that channel grew in popularity and exposure. Hate views are still views. And like I briefly mentioned, in 2018, prank channels started dying out. Everyone's videos just felt so because you just knew that these were actors, and it completely took away the fun factor. I'm sure there were channels still doing genuine real pranks, but it wasn't the big guys. The reputation at this point was completely tainted, and this next story didn't help with that case. In 2018, the first death due to a YouTube prank gone wrong occurs. A young couple thought an encyclopedia would be enough to stop a bullet from going into the woman's boyfriend, but unfortunately it did not, and it killed him pretty much on the spot. A very unfortunate story that has honestly stuck with me for quite some time, and in light of more inappropriate pranks. I don't know if a lot of you remember, but in 2018 there was a series of acid attacks in London. One of these attacks affecting 20 people that were just trying to enjoy their night at a club. And this man, Arya, thought it was a good idea to ruin people's days by soaking them with water, when pretty much the entirety of London was shook up over the attack that had just happened. And yeah, that's just not okay. Again, I don't understand. Same thing with the zombie thing. I don't understand turning tragedies, especially that soon, into a joke. It's sick. I'm really thankful that shit like that just goes right over my head, and I just don't think it's cool. But there's a little bit of a surge not long after, and that is because of the accessibility for kids to have iPads, which means more gullible watchers for your prank content. And that's kind of where like the neon colored thumbnails come into play. Sebastian Bales, or as we have been calling him, Sebastian Balls, he comes into play here. These videos are all fake, as you can tell by the cringy, bad acting, but again, as I addressed, it doesn't mean he's not still being impressionable to younger people who don't understand that their acting is bad. A few videos that I can think of being the time where he begged his girlfriend to stop caring about chastity, and then the other where he fake hits his girlfriend in front of his buddies. Two scenarios that are not cool. And other people made this content as well, but I feel like Sebastian went an extra mile.
I'm gonna take this water bottle and put it in my pants to make her, like, notice it. You know what?
It took forever for you to freaking clean your makeup and then get to look like that.
Are you serious?
And then I'm hungry right now, and then you want to give me food.
No.
I really suggest watching Curtis Connor's videos about Sebastian because, oh my god, they're so good. I really do think pranks can be funny, but anything that pokes at real life trauma, such as abuse, murder, SA, why would you want to make videos of prank content surrounding around those subjects? It doesn't make sense to me. There's then another unfortunate death that was due to trying to do YouTube pranking. Timothy Wilkes and a friend showed up to a group at a trampoline park carrying large knives, and Timothy was shot and killed at the result of one of the men trying to defend himself and others that he was with. In this case, nobody was charged, as I assume it was ruled as an accident or a miscommunication. I mean, if you really think about it, he was just trying to defend himself from the two guys holding a knife, and he was with a group of people. You know, it was a very clear miscommunication, and it's just another example of why you should not do things like this, because you don't know. And not only that, but this man has probably gone through so much turmoil. He's probably still healing to this day about killing someone who was just trying to do a prank. And then in more recent news in 2023, another YouTuber that goes by Tanner Cook was also shot in results of a prank. I would say that this one was less understandable, as he was just playing some audios for this man for about 20 seconds, I believe is what I read. He was then shot. This man did tell him to stop several times.
Stop.
And he never did. So just Another lesson of if people tell you to stop and they're not really seeming like they're feeling the vibe of your prank, maybe stop. And Tanner did actually live. He actually survived. So that's a good thing. You do not know what a person is going through if they're in the right mind, if they have something going on. Like, I just can't imagine being a prankster. I really can't. But don't worry, because I know you were worried, but social experiment videos still do exist. They do. So yeah, I guess that's a wrap. I feel like this video was a roller coaster. I've been packing all day. This is really the only area left in my house that looks the same. So it's really weird, as I feel that I still have everything here, but this is literally it. This is the last thing that I have to take down. Damn. If you guys want to follow me, all my social media links will be in the description below, as well as my Discord. And I will see you at my next apartment. Woo!